My name is Indranil Chaudhary. I'm a research assistant with an initiative called Computing Integrated Teacher Education at the City University of New York. Technology is changing the way we teach, learn, and create. I'm here to tell you about a project that brings Bronx Public School together with the university to train the next generation of teachers. Teachers that are ready to guide New York City kids to use technology to create and express themselves while navigating new risks and challenges. A key component of teacher preparation programs is gaining practical experience in teaching, following which a student is officially licensed to teach. We sat down to talk to the architects of Loot STEM, an innovative teacher residency that aims to create a nurturing environment for future teachers.
What does Loot STEM stand for?
So LUT is Lehman Urban Transformative Education. And then the STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So the emphasis, regardless of grade level, regardless of subject matter, is how do we integrate STEM across the pre-K through 12 curriculum. Our goal is to attract highly qualified individuals who want to become teachers in high need schools and provide them with a really high quality apprenticeship.
Student teachers learn to teach most effectively when their university and the host school's leadership work together closely and have shared values, especially when covering new territory like computing and STEM. To see such a partnership in action, we visited one of the schools where Loot STEM residents work, Samara Community School, a dual language public school in the Bronx.
Hello. Okay,
No,
so we'll
that's
start
okay.
again. Okay. So my name is Danielle Derrick, and I am the principal of Samara Community School. I'm also the founding principal. We started the school, we're actually in our 10th year. Students that are coming to be student teachers at our school are experiencing something a little different. So all of our projects are designed around solving an actual real life problem and infusing social studies, science, math, reading, writing into this unit that lasts for about 3 months. We're also a dual language school, so children are also learning to be biliterate, reading, speaking, listening, writing in both languages.
Student teachers are not teachers yet, they're training to become one. And working with an experienced host teacher at a school like Samara is a crucial step on that journey.
Okay. My name is Michelle Ortiz, and I am a student teacher, student resident with the Loot STEM program from Lehman.
Today isn't any ordinary day at Samara. It's Museum Day. A perk of Samara's project based approach to learning is that students can show off what they've been working on to their peers, families, and friends.
What is the space that we're in?
This is the exercise room, but for today, it's Samara's Poets Cafe.
As the young poets at Samara wrote, recited, and danced to their poems, there was one more thing that made this year's Poetry Cafe extra special. The students at Samara, with the help of their student teacher Michelle, got to tinker with a beginner friendly programming language called Scratch.
When I got into the Loot STEM residency, they have a workshop for us where they teach us all about Scratch, which is where I initially knew about Scratch because I didn't know about it before.
Scratch is a very interactive program that allows even young children to begin to practice with coding.
In this video, I'll be explaining to you the Creative Computing Micro-Credential as a part of the Loot STEM program at Lehman.
We're able to convey this to the residents before they get into the classroom with the hope that they will be employing it in the classroom as they teach.
If a friend was here today and didn't know what Scratch was, how would you describe what it is? Like, Scratch is
your life.
Say more about that. What do you mean?
Like you can make anything. It's kind of like you kind of made like the game. Like you made a game.
The computer thinks super, super, super fast. So you're telling it to go up, you're going to one way and then do the opposite. I had one student, he created his own character using one of the sprites, and he added some Nikes, he added a chain, and I was like, and he was like, yeah, that's me right there.
When I like pick something, there's a painting thing, and you could customize it like that, and it would just like pop right up when you finish customizing, and you could like fill it up with the color you want.
That really stood out to me, how they were able to, with my guidance, they were able to like explore.
I heard about Scratch from students for like the last month. We're learning to code and we're using Scratch and we're using it to think about our identity and our culture. I want our children to see themselves as coders, as engineers, as architects, as writers, as poets. So to think of themselves as coders after that brief moment of being able to start using Scratch and getting their feet wet was something that I thought was really special.
There's one more person that helped Michelle integrate computing in her classroom, focusing on how to make it meaningful.
My name is Cecilia Espinosa. Currently, I'm a professor at Lehman College in the Early Childhood Department. I was asking the students in my class, my biliteracy course this semester, how computer science happens in their schools, if it happens at all. There's a STEM teacher who takes the students to a computer lab, doesn't necessarily talk with the classroom teacher, the elementary classroom teacher. And so the students are engaging in projects in two very separate ways. And what would be really powerful is to see how it needs to happen in real life.
Professor Cecilia Espinosa, like, she comes in weekly. So I told her about the lesson plan as well. And she kind of motivated me to like have a deeper conversation about algorithms and about coding. So that I included that in my lesson plan, and I showed the students like what algorithms are, that they're like instructions that you tell the computer, and you have to be very specific with them. And then I also talked about like equity and how less than 10% of the coders or software engineers are Black and Latino. And they were like shook, like they were like very surprised at that statistic. I asked them like, maybe we can change this. This is very important because maybe you guys are the next software engineers. And they were like, yeah, I want to be a software engineer. I want to create games, because I also related it to how they see technology and how they're playing Roblox, they're playing all these games, but they don't really know who makes them. So I connected it like, maybe you can make your own game.
You know, anybody can put a bunch of kids in a room and hand them iPads and laptops and have them do stuff on computers. And you see that. What I appreciate at Samara and the other schools that we partnership with as well is you have this fully integrated environment where the computers are there, the digital work that they're doing, the digital tools they're using are assisting them in doing a whole variety of things that aren't necessarily digital. So you have this very kinesthetic learning happening. You have this artistic, creative work happening.
Algorithms and Scratch, that's a type of language, just like how writing is, just like how reading is. That's digital literacy. That's the type of literacy that they're using at home with their iPads, with their computers. Just like how we're intentional with the books we read, just how we're intentional with how we write, what we write about. We have to be intentional with what we can create with technology and how we use technology.
Michelle's learning journey was supported by many interconnected actors. She became curious about algorithms thanks to her professor at Lehman, Dr. Espinosa. She was selected by Lute STEM and got training to teach Scratch. Lute STEM placed her at Samara, where she was able to introduce Scratch to third graders, thanks to a long-standing relationship between Dr. Espinosa and Principal Derrick.
Anyone that's being, prepared now may have new skills and talents that they bring to a classroom that really help host teachers grow and develop. And so if you ask most host teachers, they feel they've learned a great deal from working with their residents. And I would suggest that perhaps computational thinking, and specifically how you use Scratch, may be one of those skills that they appreciate.
Her cooperating teacher, and seeing Michelle's like passion for doing this, was like, go ahead, take full reign. She was able to just teach all of the third graders, and it became her project, and the teacher stepped back and actually we were learning with Michelle and the students. So it was great because Michelle benefited because she's learning and really working and honing in on her practices of becoming a teacher. But also the teachers, the cooperating teachers, get to see what Scratch looks like and the benefits of it. And then, of course, on museum day, they get to see it. Everybody gets to see it on display.
We formed this professional development schools at Lehman College. We believe that the learning has to be mutual, right? And so what we have created with Samara is a space where professors can learn from Samara, but Samara can also learn from us.
Sustaining such a learning ecology requires investing in all the actors, beginning with innovative residencies like Loot STEM.
Our students cannot afford to simply do a full-time residency experience and quit their jobs with any ease. Okay, so even though we feel like we had a lot to offer and our living wage stipends were pretty generous, not generous enough for many students to be able to say, yeah, I can do this because it didn't come with health insurance, right? And it certainly, in general, was not enough money to offset what they would have earned had they been working full time.
It's a student like Michelle who is carrying sort of the torch on creating this space. So what would be wonderful to see at Samara is for the teachers to have the professional development.
They need to have training in how to use Scratch. And we've in the past had some teachers trained through Computer Science for All where they were learning Scratch and they implemented it into their teaching. But it's like, if you're not using it or it's like something that you're just not seeing a lot, then I think it loses its relevance per se.
CUNY serves as the single biggest teacher pipeline for New York City public schools. Yet a recent report suggests that very few are equipped to teach computational thinking, preventing many of the most disadvantaged students from receiving the full benefits of the Computer Science for All initiative. It's time to change that. Michelle's professor, Dr. Espinoza, is one of over 240 faculty at schools of education across CUNY campuses who are part of the Computing Integrated Teacher Education Initiative, engaging in professional development and strategic planning with the goal of transforming our education programs. But it's only just the beginning of this work.
I know Professor Cecilia, she does one class about it or she tries to incorporate as much as she can, but it's still not enough time. Like I spent a month in that workshop and that still wasn't enough time. So I feel like just spending more time actually addressing the trauma that our students have at Lehman as well, because we have to understand that they also don't have that experience in coding and they haven't humanized coding. So they are addressing that and then telling them, like motivating them, like you can do this as well and having their own experiences as well.
But what does it look like to integrate technology meaningfully? How can we think expansively about specific groups like multilingual learners, or recognize embedded injustices, or learn to protect our privacy in an increasingly connected world? Such questions, which are just as much social and political as they are technological, are key to our work. We've published a collaboratively authored framework for centering equity in our work, designed a card game that prompts players to consider the why of CITE, and created a graphic zine to hear directly from teacher candidates about their experiences with technology, all with the ultimate goal of changing the practice of teaching in classrooms.
So I think it's very, very important that as CITE continues to grow and develop, that we begin to think about schools that could be involved in these projects, and that we begin to think about how it's impacting the practices of teachers in the classroom. There can be more showcase schools, right? That I think where there's a commitment and there's sort of like a reciprocity, an ecology, like you said before, where we can learn from each other, we can think together about big questions about what does it mean to educate children for the 21st century.